Greetings, Doctor. to inform you of how to interface with this hospital. You can tilt the control stick left and right while on this screen. This will allow you to select which doctor's episodes to experience. Should you wish to change the difficulty of your operations, point at the difficulty icon. Then press the A button on your Wii Remote. Difficulty settings only apply to the doctors that perform operations.
Open the door. He wants to talk to the prisoner.
What? The guy with the 250-year sentence? I wasn't informed of this.
Here's my authorization from the HHS. Any problems?
I'm sure he won't say a word. He doesn't remember anything.
It's been a while.
What do you want?
You're needed for an operation, in exchange for a reduced sentence.
You want me to operate?
That's right. Here are the details if you want to see them. Take your time and think it over. But remember, you'll never have another opportunity to save lives.
Save lives. Again.
Get out. This is Resurgam First Care. You'll be operating here. The only time you'll be out of cuffs is during the operation. Remember, this is 5 years off your sentence. Questions?
None. I'm just here to do my business.
Hey there, Hank Freebird. I'm a doctor here. I'll be your support for this operation. What's your name?
His name doesn't matter. Let's keep the contact minimal. His prison number is CRS-01 if you need to call him anything.
I see. I understand.
Now get started. We'll be waiting here for you.
Well then, I'll be explaining the gist of this operation.
I'm told we'll be using an old CVR for a DCM case.
That's right, but, will you be alright?
What do you mean by that?
I heard from the man outside that you have no memories. This isn't just some way to pay a debt. A life's on the line.
You don't need to worry about that. Let's operate.
Well then, let's begin the operation.
The patient's vitals are low. Get me a syringe. The green medicine is the stabilizer. All right, injecting stabilizer into the patient. Vitals are recovered. Stabilization complete. Next, we must open up the chest. We must disinfect the entire incision area to prevent infection. Disinfection complete. Beginning incision. Scalpel. Alright, trace the guideline to make the incision. Incision complete. Starting now, the real deal. We need to find the affected areas. Ready the ultrasound.
The affected areas should appear as black shadows. We found an affected area.
Found it. The yellow vial contains the antiviral drug. Alright, drug's working. Prepare the scalpel for incision. The affected area has been opened. Using the drain. Now to
Treat the myocardium with the overlapping method. First, pull one side of the myocardium across the incision.
Alright. Alright. I'll need to suture the wound before it opens up again. First area has been treated. It's all going as planned.
Test did confirm multiple affected areas, though.
Don't worry. We'll find them all and treat them. Alright. Drug's working. Prepare the scalpel for incision. Affected area has been opened. Using the drain. Let's close the wound before... Next? Alright. Next suturing incision. Prepare the... That's the second area done.
Your skills are amazing.
Don't waste my time with your opinions. Let's keep going. That's odd. There should be more affected areas. Get the ultrasound out of my way. It's not helping me anymore.
What do you mean? Tell me what you're thinking.
It's a simple fact. The ultrasound can't find everything. Let's palpate the organ directly to find them.
Going to feel the areas? Would that be okay?
Inject the antiviral drug into where it feels abnormal. I've found an abnormal area. Injecting the drug. There it is. Prepare a scalpel. Affected area has been opened. Let's close the wound before it hits. Alright. Next suturing incision. Suture complete. Moving on to the next area.
You need to inject it into the shadow to have an effect.
I've found an abnormal area. Injecting the drug. I've found an affected area. Affected area has been opened. Let's close the... Next? Alright. Next suturing incision. Prepare the suture. Suture complete. Moving on to the next area. I've found an abnormal area. Injecting the drug. Affected area has been... Let's close the wound before it hits. Next? Alright. Next suturing incision. That should finish the treatment procedure. Now, let's close them up. Beginning the incision suturing.
Once Once we're done here, the operation will be over.
Get the antibiotic gel ready to cleanse the sutured wound. Alright, let's bandage up the incision now. Operation complete. Let this disease pass from this world.
Impressive. I never thought I'd see surgery like that. You have an amazing skill. I have to thank you for this.
Your sentiment doesn't matter. I don't need thanks.
Is that so? I think it's important to show gratitude.
Looks like it worked. But I wonder if it's alright to use a procedure that's so outdated.
That was a fine operation, Doctor.
Something.
Thank you.
Who is he anyway? Ooh, is he a famous
I
doctor?
didn't do anything worth being thanked over.
How should I know? He does have some
I
amazing skills.
see.
Doctor, huh?
That was a fine operation, Doctor. Thank you.
Life.
Yo, kid. Came by to see what you're up to. Man, I didn't think you'd be living in a refrigerator.
Temperature's kept at 0 Celsius to reduce bacteria. And so I can't kill anyone.
Bacteria cultivation, huh? Pseudomonas, Vibrio, Micrococcus? You know, plenty of bacteria can be grown at this low temperature.
And you are?
Gabriel Cunningham, and I'm in charge of the guy you worked on. I want to consult with you about something.
Consult with me.
We've got a patient with tumors similar to Kaposi's sarcoma. Skin, lungs, small intestine, they must be excised at once. How about it? You think it can be done?
There's not enough information to make a conclusion. But depending on the patient, I won't rule it out entirely.
Is that so? All right, it's decided. Let's go.
What are you talking about?
The operation. You'll be performing it on that patient.
Me?
What's wrong? That's why I came out to see you.
Please check the arterial forceps. Are all the medicines ready?
We're running late. Can you check on our transfusion supply?
I'm putting extra trays here. Where's the anesthesiologist?
Oh, come on in. You're late.
You are...
Maria Torres. I'll be assisting you this time. You've heard the details, right? Read the charts, too.
all right?
I've seen you before. Have we met?
I hear this is a tough condition to deal with.
Yeah, you're right. Let's start the operation then. focus of this operation is tumor excision, but... Well, it's odd. Infections like this aren't all that rare. Even so, we can't pinpoint exactly what's causing them.
What do you mean? Have you done a blood analysis?
Please. Of course we did. Do you think we're stupid? Nothing showed up on the CRP, antibody titer, or WBC count. Other tests came up with nothing too. We're stumped.
Oh, that is indeed odd.
Well, hopefully this will be an uneventful op. Let's begin.
Well then, let's begin the operation.
Gabe, that is Dr. Cunningham, says it's like Kaposi's sarcoma. Who knows what it actually is, though?
The foci show discoloration, like malignant melanoma. Let's begin by treating the skin. Prepare the laser.
What?
First affected area removed.
They're all burned off. Put antibiotic gel on them. There aren't any more here. Let's check the intestine.
No, we're not done yet. There may be tumors under the skin here as well. I want to check the area with the ultrasound. I thought so. Tumor confirmed. Making an incision. Cytoplasm is spilling out. I'll use the drain on it. Now I'll excise it with the scalpel for 12 weeks. Tumor excision complete. I'll extract it with the forceps. Extract the excised area. Get the synthetic membrane.
I'll leave the tray out if we need to put that back.
Synthetic membrane in place. Affixing it with antibiotic gel.
Looks like all the skin tumors are done. Let's keep going.
Understood. Making an incision to open the operating field. Area disinfected. Making an incision.
Now, if it's the same as the skin, tumors should be here too.
First, we need to inject blue medicine into the inflammations. Inflammation has subsided. Let's treat the rest too.
There are probably more inflammations around.
I'm shifting my view. Prepare the magnification tool. Inflammations are all over the field of operation. Tumor presence confirmed. Treating it and inflammation.
That's the first one. Keep going.
It's number 2. Looks like there's another one. Extracted. Beginning treatment of the remaining wounds.
The small intestine has been treated. We're doing well.
Don't relax yet. We still need to treat the lungs.
I know. You're pretty blunt, aren't you?
Get ready to shift the focus of the operation. I've found small tumors in the lungs. Prepare the laser.
With the ultrasound.
I found a tumor. Scalpel.
It's not a tumor. Is this mucus?
This doesn't change our treatment. Let's continue. Using the drain on it.
There have to be more of those. Use the ultrasound.
This must be the cause of that mucus. Beginning extraction. Exoma extraction complete. That should stop the mucus. Tumor markers aren't decreasing. Must be the mucus.
this? Some kind of bruise?
That bruise.
Hey, what's wrong? Are you alright?
Come on. It's moving around with the blood. We can't let it get away. One minute till extract. It's not over yet. There should be more. Yes, I'll start treating the mucus and remaining wounds.
Whew, we can finally relax a little. Alright, let's close this patient up and finish this off. Hey, how did you know how to treat those things?
I don't know. Black bruise. I've seen that somewhere.
Where would you see something that weird before?
Let's finish the operation. Get the antibiotic gel ready. All treatment has been complete. Ending operation.
Well, you know, you're a big help. Let me at least thank you. That was quite a show. Looks like we can trust you.
I'm just doing what I was brought here to do.
Sheesh, aren't you fun to be around? Take a compliment.
Yo, how'd it go?
All the tumors have been extracted. It's a unique condition, so keep her fully monitored.
You're just leaving now? Well, that's pretty irresponsible.
I'm a prisoner. I can't do anything else from here.
Well, not exactly. You're responsible for that patient until she leaves.
I heard that you'll be in custody here for a while. Let me tell you that I'm firmly against this decision.
The new room's over there. It's barred, but it's no icebox. We'll be counting on you to help us save lives here, kid.
Satisfied?
Are you kidding? I need to see how he does before I decide. Besides, his entourage is a pain in the ass, too.
What do you mean by that?
Don't treat me like an idiot, G-Man. I see a lot of new faces around here. Curious faces.
Dr. Weir...
Whoa! I try not to get involved in other people's jobs. Let's just agree not to interfere with each other. Got it?
Thanks for your cooperation.
doing? You're late.
Oh, hey, Chief. Oh, sorry I'm late.
And you're all out of breath, too. Odd. Where were you?
Out in the courtyard?
The courtyard, huh? Oh, what's your take on this, kid?
It's a lie. The courtyard is less than 90 seconds away. Even if he'd run from there, he wouldn't be breathing this hard.
I saw that too. Where were you really, Dr. Freebird?
Well...
Enough. I know you're all friends, but playtime's over. Let's begin the conference. About 10 minutes ago, a Ferris wheel collapsed in Oakdale. We're receiving 4 patients, one of whom is severely injured. The patient's name is Charlie Malone, a 39-year-old male. He has a steel beam in his abdomen and needs surgery stat.
So we have his ID. Has his family been notified?
That still needs to be done. Gabe, I'll leave that to you. Now, about the surgery itself.
Chief, if I may.
Huh? What is it, Tomoe?
Why not ask him to perform the procedure?
Me?
I've seen the video of his operation. He's better than us. Severe organ damage is anticipated and will need his skill.
I did see him in action. I agree. He's amazing.
Well then, it's decided. We'll count on you, kiddo.
What the? Hey, be careful!
Is this the urgent
Where
patient?
should we take him? Has anesthesia been alerted?
Is everyone ready? Nurses, prep for surgery!
Please move. Make way.
Blood pressure 60/34. GCS is 3-3, blood type O+.
Secure a blood transfusion line and get him to room A.
Let's move. You! Get out of the way!
Please, listen carefully. This will require several steps. I will monitor the transfusion, so watch the patient's vitals. Doctor, is something bothering you?
I'm not worried, it's just...
Vital squad! Doctor!
Damn it! Hang in there!
Readying the lactated ringer solution.
No time. Contact surgery. We're bringing him in as is.
Just...
How we handle this crisis will affect the hospital's name. Is it all right to trust this to an outsider like me?
You've let your short time here mislead you in understanding us. You aren't regarded as an outsider here anymore, Doctor. You've already saved 2 lives since you arrived here. All of us believe in our hearts that you'll save this man.
Believe.
Cardiac arrest, 1 minute. Hemorrhaging won't stop.
God damn it! We're not gonna let him die on us.
Let's go. Patient seems to have arrived.
The extraction of the foreign object is a delicate procedure. I, Tomoe Tachibana, will be supporting you in this task.
Let's get to it.
We'll save this patient, no matter what. Very well. Let's do our best and begin the operation.
The patient's in critical condition. Let's be careful.
Doctor, the patient's undergoing cardiac arrest.
Charge the AED. Beginning resuscitation. beam extraction. Let's open the wound.
Blood pool has formed with incision area.
Pull it with the forceps before the blood pools.
It's deep. We can't remove it all at once.
We'll have to open the wound and pull it out bit by bit. Blood pool is going to form once we make an incision.
This...
Ventricular fibrillation. Don't touch him.
Cardiac arrest. Charging the AED.
Come back. Come on. We have a pulse. Watch the vitals. Ready now.
Pull on the object with the forceps. Watch the vitals.
Continuing with the treatment.
The patient's getting worse. Doctor, what... Just a little more. Hang in there, doctor.
That's it. His vitals aren't stabilizing. The object has been completely removed. He'll be okay for now.
Yes. Now we have to treat the wound with the extraction.
We need to do something about that blood. Get the drain. I'll suture it after... Something's happening. Ready the ultrasound. All right. I'll use the forceps.
We have a visual.
Blood removal confirmed. Now suturing the wound. The wound has been
Another blood pool. Close the wound once you drain it. Another blood pool. The wire is bent within the wound. Be careful moving it.
Just need to pull this. The glass shard has been extracted.
Glass shard removed. Please continue with the treatment. Please place the object.
The wire has been extracted.
Another blood pool. Close the wound once you drain it. Another blood pool. Close the wound once you drain it. Another blood pool. Close the wound once you drain it.
I'll suture it after closing the... All right, now to suture it. Prepare the sutures. Suturing completed. Let's use membranes as reinforcement. I see hemorrhaging in the operating area.
A blood pool has formed in the target area. Use the drain. You're so precise. You're operating in one area when the
wound is functional. The EKG has calmed down. The memories have been affixed. It'll be all right. Large enough to need the force. All right. Ready to suture the wound.
large laceration treatment complete. Please continue.
Let's close.
Please suture the wound before it opens. Vitals have stabilized. All treatment complete.
All right. Let's begin suturing the operation field. Let's close this patient up. Prepare the sutures.
Please place the bandage and we can end the operation.
Operation complete. This disease passed from this wound.
Well done. You did it, Doctor. Just as skilled as the rumors say.
Oh, that's why I'm here.
Such modesty. I have much to learn myself as well.
Operation complete. Thank you for your assistance in the procedure.
He's really something. It's like a machine. Seriously, that kind of skill is just incredible. Right? Oh, is that your daughter? She's a cutie.
That's right.
It's good she didn't take after her dad. How old is she?
She would be 14 now, if she were still alive.
When did she pass away?
She was killed in a bioterrorism attack 8 years ago.
8 years? Don't tell me. Oh, sorry.
It's in the past now.
That incident at Cumberland College.
My wife taught there. She passed away with my girl.
Hey, did they ever find who was responsible?
Yeah. I caught him. Personally. Don't you recognize him? He's standing right there.
Are you joking? He did that?
A side effect of the gas. It erased his memory. But he was found guilty in a court of law for it.
That bastard!
Hey, Maria!
Well done, Doctor.
That was as smooth as last time. It's like nothing can stop you.
Emma, stop swooning over the new doc.
Hey! You convict bastard!
Hey!
Is it you?
Dr. Torres!
Did you do it?
What the...
What are you talking about?
Are you responsible for Cumberland College? Tell me!
I've already been put on trial for what happened there.
Damn it!
What are you doing?
So what then? Have you been lying to us all this time?
Please, calm down, Dr. Torres.
Damn it, we swore an oath to do no harm!
Dr. Torres, calm down. Maria, stop it!
You can't remember, huh? Screw you! Start remembering! Remember what you did, damn you!
I'd like to return to my room. Could you escort me there?
It's a request for surgery. Is he still not,
It's a waste of time even speaking to him.
Why are you turning your back on everything? Look, if you just say you aren't the culprit, we'd all...
When I came to... When I came to, all I saw was a mountain of corpses. They were gone. Hollow eyes. Blood everywhere. I may have been the one that killed them.
Are you fine with that? What, you know for sure it was you? You're just running away! You can't hide from the truth!
I've had enough. Please. Leave me alone.
Ugh! You fool!
I brought your meal. Please, eat at least some of it.
It was all just a dream.
A dream?
I'm a prisoner. I'm different from everyone else. That's all there is to it.
So, Doctor, what do you think of him?
What do you mean? The kid's one heck of a surgeon.
I've been watching him a long time. I can't believe that he's the one who did it.
Well, that's an odd thing to say. You're the one who caught him.
All we do is catch criminals. We don't decide their fate.
Ah, it's very noble of you. So, what do you want from me?
I think you'd agree. You and I have a lot in common. Look, we transferred him here hoping his memory'd return. I'd really like your help in our investigation.
Screw that. And you and I are nothing alike. I'm not an idiot who'd force a doctor without passion to operate.
Treatment room 2! Hey Darnell, where's Dr. Torres?
She went to get Dr. Cunningham. Go ahead and get ready for surgery.
I'll have everything ready in 5 minutes. I'll tell the nurses to prep for the operation.
Did you come to laugh at me?
I didn't hear any jokes. Sorry. Not my sense of humor.
It's all right. I heard your wife and daughter were...
Don't get me wrong. I'm only here because it's my job.
What?
The past is gone. But life continues. My wife fought to the end to save all her students. Just as the doctors here are fighting even now. But you... what are you doing? You're cleared for surgery. You ever dream about saving lives? Now's the time to start.
Dream about saving lives?
Cry if you want to. It's all part of growing up.
Careful with the anesthesia. It's a hardy procedure.
Yes, sir.
Respiratory's ready. Get the curettes. Doctor.
You?
Please let me do this operation. Please. Let me save this life.
The room is yours, Doctor. Now hurry up and get ready for surgery. We're dealing with Wormer syndrome here. Got it? First, the pituitary glands, then abdomen and pancreas.
Understood. Please begin the anesthesia.
I made the incision into the sella turcica and duramator. I'm handing the reins of this operation to you.
Yeah, leave it to me. First we need to treat the blood pool. Let's use the drain. Tumor location confirmed. Beginning extraction.
Considering what we're dealing with, use extra caution.
That won't be a problem. I'll drain the cytoplasm first. Cytoplasm removed. Beginning excision to the scalpel. Tumor has been excised. Now extract.
Alright, we're making good time. Keep it up. The blood pool's in the way. Use the drain on. The blood pool's in the way. Use the drain on. Blood pool's in the way. Use the drain on. The patient's hemorrhaging and tumor markers are decreasing. Good. This keeps up.
Moving on to the abdomen.
Yeah, I'll close up here. Leave it to me.
What are these bruises?
Oh, just blood spots. They'll go away after this.
Understood. Beginning pancreas operation. There's a high amount of hemorrhaging and inflammations as well.
Is the bleeding from the GI perforation? We should treat it first.
The tissue near the tear is damaged by digestive juices. We'll need to excise the area around the hole to treat it.
Another blood pool is full.
Alright, let's close it.
It'll open up again, so suture it shut right up.
Alright, perforation has been sutured.
Not so fast. I have some synthetic membranes here. Put them in place to reinforce the wound. If you take too long, the sutured area is cut.
Moving to the next affected area.
Treat inflammations with medicine from the dark blue vial.
Inflammation.
Be more careful. Inject directly into small tumors, huh? I'll get the laser and gel ready to use.
Moving operation field. There should be other areas.
Use the magnification tool then. Look for hidden tumors. Stabilizing. Must be something.
Tumor presence exposed. Beginning extraction. Tumor excised.
Don't forget to treat those small tumors as well.
Excision complete. Moving on to the next treatment.
Take care of any remaining wounds.
Treatment complete. Let's go to the next area.
Yeah, this next part's the last one. I'm counting on you. All this blood. Where's this hemorrhaging from?
We need to treat all of it. Keep an eye on the vitals. Tumor confirmed. Beginning extraction.
Nicely done. Now use antibiotic gel to affix them. Debride the tissue by the perforation with the scalpel.
Blood pool is formed. Now closing, suturing the wound before it opens. Perforation for suture. Get the membranes. Down to affix the membranes.
Membranes have been affixed. Move to the other areas. Nicely done. Use antibiotic gel to affix them. Tumor markers are clear. Finish the treatment.
Now to affix the membranes. Prepare the antibiotic gel. Excising tissue near the perforation. Scalpel. Draining blood pool. Ready to drain. Suturing the wound before it opens. I'll need sutures.
What? The needle fell in? Damn it! Why at a time like this? We don't have much time. The patient won't last long.
Set the ultrasound wavelength for multiple analysis.
The ultrasound? What's that gonna do?
The needle's metal. It'll appear as a shadow if we scan.
All right, the ultrasound's ready. Let's hurry. closing up. Whew. I was pretty worried for a moment there. Close up the operation field, and we'll be done.
I see the blood spots are gone.
Yeah, it's all thanks to one skilled surgeon.
Closing the operation field. Prepare the sutures.
Man, you sure can take a compliment.
Taping the sutured incision, and the operation's done. Operation complete. This disease passed from this one.
Well, you know, to be serious for once, thanks for saving this patient. Man, you're really something. Oh, this isn't time to be depressed, kid. Be proud of yourself. Here. Oh, you're such a sucker, kid. No, but I mean it. Really something.
That was an amazing operation. Thank you.
It's all right.
Come, I'll escort you back to your room. Is something wrong?
No. Let's get going.
Hey, would you mind coming somewhere with me first? I gotta run some papers down to emergency. You can lock a man up, but you have to respect his wants. Especially if it's something honorable. Hey, here we are. What do you think of the building? Seen better days, huh?
I'd assume so.
No, this is the old ward. The rest of us moved into the new one. But emergency's still here. Do you know why? The people here wrestle with life and death every day. They're under more intense pressure than most can imagine. It can make them sensitive to serious issues about life.
Yeah.
Well, somehow I doubt they'll move to the new ward. Now go on.
Be right back. Gotta take this report to the medical office.
Stop by the service department, too. They paged us earlier.
Okay, I'll stop on my way back. Oh, excuse me.
If you have Hank's papers, you can drop them there.
All right.
Okay, fixed. Ugh, you piece of crap. What's the use? This ward's such a pain. Is it too much to ask to have working lights?
I see. Yeah, that's, unfortunate.
Huh? You still need something?
No, it's nothing. Sorry.
It wasn't you, right? You're not the one behind the terrorist attack, are you? You have no memory, but you just want to scream it out. Am I wrong? That's how I was when I was a kid. think I lost my temper the other day. I'm sorry.
No,
Anyway, I know you aren't a murderer. At least, I don't think you are. So, let's drop it.
Why are you being so...
Hey, I got a lot to do here. You mind?
Huh? Wait, I'd still like to...
Bastard! What the hell did you break?
I didn't mean to. I was just...
If you just quit smoking, it wouldn't have happened.
No, my personality has nothing to do...
Damn it, just shut up already!
Everything has been documented in the files before you. Please increase the bromocriptine dose to 6 milligrams. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr.
Primer. It's disrespectful to the doctor.
It was a pleasure working with you. Don't forget us.
Yeah.
Going back to your fridge, huh?
That's right.
14 operations, that's 26 years off your sentence.
That doesn't interest me.
Hey, throw me a bone or something. Cheer up, will ya?
My sentence is 250 years. I have 217 left. Maybe if I were a monad, I'd live out my entire sentence.
Is that a joke? I don't know if I should laugh. Don't worry. I won't pull it back or anything. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for everything.
Huh? Maria? No one said anything about a transport. What happened?
Her condition is critical. She was hurt in the bombing.
A bomb? You idiot, we can't treat her here.
Why? She needs to be admitted for emergency surgery.
3rd-degree burns mean a debridement and a skin graft. We have no tissue to transplant. How can we operate?
Maria, lower the patient.
You idiot? What are you saying?
We can do it without skin grafting. I can save her.
You? But your stay here is over. Look. They're panicked. They think you're making an escape.
No, I'm not turning my back on saving lives anymore.
God damn it. All right, but whatever happens, don't blame me. Maria, you heard the man. Lower the stretcher. Hurry. FBI, get out of the way!
Excuse me! Please move!
Don't move! This is the FBI!
Get your hands up! Huh?
You mind? This is a hospital, fellas. Keep it down.
Doctor, where is he?
I'm not armed. Go point that thing at someone else.
His approved time at the hospital is up. Understand? Don't do anything to make his situation worse.
Holden, you and I are alike after all. We both do whatever it takes to get the job done.
What the?
Pursue them! Request backup and stop that chopper!
Don't worry. I promise that I'll save her.
We need as many men as local police is able to spare.
It's the chopper! We intercepted their in-flight radio!
Connect me to it, right now.
Must use extreme caution. Ready for briefing, Doctor?
Yes, please begin.
They're operating in the chopper? They'll kill the patient!
Be aware, too, that we don't have stable voltage levels. This is not going to be easy, Doctor.
Understood. After debriding the burns, I'll need the synthetic membranes. Keep the antibiotic gel ready, too. Let's begin.
It seems there are both second and third degree burns.
This will be a race against time. Let's begin quickly. Inject the light blue coolant Inject the coolant from the light blue vial.
Coolant's taking effect. Performing debridement. Debridement complete. Remove and extrude that blood pool. Prepare the drain. Place a membrane before blood pool. It's bent inside the body. We'll have to extract it carefully. First wire has been extracted. Continuing removal. That's one glass shard removed.
You can place the...
Let's hurry up with these.
Please use the extra membrane.
Let's hurry up with these.
The second membrane is placed. One more. Hang in there, Doctor.
That should do it. Moving on to the next treatment.
Use the magnification tool to move the view of the operation. All glass shards removed. Let's move to the next step.
All wires have been extracted. Beginning the next treatment.
It's a lot of energy. Be aware of the vitals.
Coolant's taking effect. Performing debridement. Debridement complete. Remove and extrude that blood pool. Prepare the drain. Let's hurry up with these. We don't have time to waste. Coolant's taking effect. Performing debridement. Debridement complete. Extrude that blood pool. Prepare the drain. Let's hurry up with these. We don't...
The second membrane is placed.
We need to work faster and with precision. Let's hurry up with these. We don't have time to waste. Suturing complete. Looks like there's more though. Let's hurry up with these. We don't have time to waste.
But don't let your guard down. Thank goodness. The treatment is complete.
Don't look away from the monitor. Something happened. What?
Cardiac arrest! Charge the AED!
Yes. But why did she go into cardiac arrest?
There's no time for questions. Using the defibrillator. What's going on?
The electricity's going out. Please halt the procedure.
All the time. Why now? I can't see where I'm working. Is the power back on yet?
Vitals dropping. Her pulse hasn't returned either.
Damn it! Come on, make it in time.
What's with the tunnel? You mind flying a bit higher?
Stop complaining, damn it! Any higher and they'll find us.
Can you hear me? We got
want some distance from Resurgam.
Is the voltage check ready yet?
Vitals are dropping. She's in critical condition.
Looks like they're having a rough time. Whoa! Damn it! Now what?
Doctor, I assume you can hear me. Drop altitude and land your helicopter at once.
Well, this isn't good. Looks like this is it.
Doctor, the game's over. Give him to me.
The game's over? Give you... who? Maria, you got any idea what he's talking about?
Yo, old man, this chopper's for material transport. I don't think what you're looking for is on board.
Cardiac arrest.
It's not over yet. I'll massage the heart. Hurry up.
Get back in the helicopter! He's still at Resurgam!
Damn it! This is the old ward, but I didn't expect this. Cardiac arrest, 4 minutes. Still no power? Not yet!
Dr. Freebird should be at the power room by now.
Dr. Freebird.
Now.
Hurry! After we resuscitate her, we've got to close her up.
AED's charged. Doctor, please begin resuscitation.
All right. It's not too late. She can still be saved.
The AED's charged. You can use the defibrillator now.
All right, here goes. Come on!
We have a pulse. She's all right.
Her organs must have been damaged as well to cause that.
Don't tell me. Did the bomb?
Let's open her up and confirm it. Prepare for surgery.
It's a radio transmission from the helicopter.
Sorry, but we ran into some trouble. They're heading back. Once they surround that place, you'll never get to finish. You've got about 10 minutes. Get it done in that time, okay?
Doctor!
Focus on the operation. Let's keep treating her.
Piercing the organ.
Thought as much. Let's hurry up and extract those bone fragments. One bone fragment retrieved. She's hemorrhaging Proceeding to the next wound.
Please suture the bruised wound before you...
We'll have to treat one wound at a time.
One more.
I need to suture it before it opens up again. Sutures!
Use the synthetic membrane to seal the wounds shut.
Continuing with the treatment. Bring the next membrane.
Membranes have been placed. If there is still wound to be treated, please do so.
Wounds have been treated. Let's begin restoring the ribs.
The fragments will be on the tray. Place them carefully. There are several areas, so move the view accordingly.
I can't reconstruct a rib if I'm not in the right area. Alright, bring up the next bone fragment. Continuing treatment. Is it her liver? We don't have a choice. We have to look and confirm it. The liver's been damaged so much.
We can expect changes in the patient due to hemorrhagic shock. Please be aware of the vitals while performing treatment.
Yes, we'll save her, no matter what.
This is Gabriel. You don't need to answer, just listen. There's no time. This is our last message. Listen carefully. Kid, let Tomoe take over the operation and get out of there.
What?
Oh, and, you did great, you know? Really an awesome surgeon.
I'll take over the procedure. Please, you need to go.
Hand me the size 11 PM.
Doctor, there's no time. You need to...
I'm not running away. Always run. From whatever sins I may have committed. I won't run anymore. From the lives I've hurt, or from the ones I can save.
Doctor, let's continue the treatment. There are signs of ventricular fibrillation. No! Stop everything during fibrillation.
She's going into cardiac arrest. Get the defibrillator.
We've got a pulse. Let's hurry before it happens again. Another blood pool. Before we treat the
Treat one wound at a time. We need the forceps.
The first wound has been sutured. Please continue treatment.
Let's suture this.
Another blood pool made with one more. This is the last wound to suture. Shut. Use the synthetic membrane to seal the wounds shut.
Alright, use antibiotic gel to affix them. Organ damage has been treated. Now to treat these wounds. Treat one wound.
Before you treat the other wounds,
Treat one wound at a time. Alright, proceeding to the...
please suture the blood. Another blood pool may form. One more.
Need to suture before it opens up again. Sutures!
Use the synthetic membrane to seal the wounds shut. Membranes have been placed.
All treatments are complete. That should do it.
There are abnormalities in the EKG. Incoming cardiac arrest. It's a big one. No, please resuscitate her. Her pulse isn't coming back.
It's not over. She can still be saved. Increase the voltage. Charge it again.
AED is set. Please watch the gauge speed. It's so good. Her pulse still isn't returning.
One more time. Don't give up.
She's flatlining. Doctor, she isn't going to...
Melissa, please. You've got the whole world ahead of you. You're not alone. Teach me what it means to live.
Her vitals have returned. This...
Right. Operation complete. Let's close her up. Closing the operational area. Sutures, please.
Right away.
Melissa did well, I think. Bandage. Ending the procedure. Let this disease pass from this world.
Amazing. You really saved her. That was amazing. It's all thanks to you, Doctor.
No. I just did what I was meant to do.
Doctor, thank you so much.
Get out of the way!
There's a procedure going on. No one's allowed to enter.
I have a job to do. Get out of the way or I'll use force.
That'll be enough. Please move aside, Dr. Freebird.
Dr. Tachibana.
The operation was successful. I won't run or hide from you.
How ironic. You throw everything away, all to save a patient. Take him away.
You all done?
I'll leave his things behind. My men can handle the rest.
I heard we won't be held accountable. How generous of you.
There's no proof you deliberately helped him evade capture. It's a waste of time charging you with something like that.
Huh. I didn't know you guys ever went just by the book.
There's a time and place for everything, Doc.
So what's gonna happen to him?
He'll return to his cell with no further outside contact.
Thought so.
Believe in him. Coming here's changed him. That's what I believe, at least.
You think so? I think you're right.
Ah, come in.
Did you call for me, Chief Wayne?
Ah, good morning, Naomi. It seems the FBI needs your expertise. I'd like you to head over to the scene immediately.
I'm a medical examiner, not a police officer.
Don't be like that. I can't just turn the government down.
Fine. Well then.
Oh, and Naomi, one more thing. Here's our liaison from the FBI. You should meet him.
You?
Special Investigator Naval. A pleasure to meet you, Doctor.
Yes. Nice to meet you too. What are you doing? You, an FBI agent? This must be a joke.
Please keep your voice down. It's been a while, hasn't it? I didn't have the luxury of witness protection, like you.
Just shut up. I'm only here because it's my job. I have nothing to do with you faking your way into the FBI. And don't you ever talk about my past again.
Whatever you say, ma'am.
Good.
Whoa, where are you going?
To the crime scene. Send the address to my GPS.
Oh, I'll have them bring the car around.
You are waiting here. Tell your people on site I'm coming. Nice tie there, little guy. Be a good boy and stay.
Doctor! Oh, well.
We've received word about you. Miss Kimishima, is it?
Good. This'll make things easier. Where's the victim?
He's over here. This way, please.
Victim is Dennis Taylor, 30-year-old male. Neighbor called in the fire. The fireman found him. The knife in his hand matched the cut wounds. Probably suicide.
Huh. What's this?
Oh, that's where the fire started, likely before the suicide. Miss Kimishima?
Are you feeling all right?
This was murder. Send the corpse to CIFM immediately. I'll examine it. I want all finger and footprints found in that room. If you find anything, contact me directly. I'll be at the lab.
What was that about?
Well, she does work at the forensic medicine laboratory. Supposedly, she solved a lot of cases for the FBI.
The FBI?
That's right. That means we need to keep out of this. Come on, hurry down to the car for the fingerprint powder.
Oh, right away.
Let's begin. This is Dr. Naomi Kimishima, ID 422194. Hey, little guy. Tell me what we know so far about this.
Oh, right. The victim's 30-year-old Dennis Taylor. At 3:30 p.m., someone in the same building reported a fire. The firefighters found the body in bed 20 minutes later. He had a knife in one hand and a deep wound on his wrist. The door was closed and chained. It's being ruled suicide.
Nonsense. Is that your personal opinion or your FBI training?
What? Isn't that the most reasonable fitting explanation?
I thought people learned when they grew older.
Doctor, what do you mean by that?
Let's begin. Show me how this life's flame was snuffed out. This wound on the wrist is believed to be the cause of death. Even though this looks like a self-inflicted wound made with a sharp knife, there's something unnatural about it. That's right. There's only the one wound on the wrist. A single slash, deep enough to reach the artery. No matter who it is, pain is an immediate response to a cut. No one should be able to make a single cut this clean and deep without flinching. I can't say this is proof of homicide, but I can't ignore this incongruity. There's something odd about the index finger on the right hand. Indeed. We can't say what's wrong with it for sure until it's sent in for analysis, though. Yes, there appear to be spots of hemorrhaging in the eyeballs. This isn't a common condition. Perhaps I should ask Little Guy about it. Is this a bruise? It's oddly shaped, though.
Dr. Kimishima, the results of the examination of the knife have come in. Let's see, the knife itself is a cheap common brand sold all over the country. It'll be difficult to locate where the knife came from. The blood left on the blade matches the deceased's. Only his fingerprints were found on the handle as well.
I see. At least one thing is clear now. That is... Yes, this knife is believed to have been used to slit the victim's wrist. Even then, we can't prove that unless we compare it to the wound. The shape of the knife blade corresponds with the wound found on the wrist. This means that... Indeed. This appears to be an open and shut case. Then again, this all seems a little too convenient for me.
Hemorrhaging in the eyes, you say? It's a condition called petechia, caused by increased blood pressure and spasms in the blood vessels. It's commonly found as a sign of death by asphyxiation.
Wait a second, that doesn't seem right. If I recall correctly, the victim... The cause of death was thought to be hemorrhaging from a slashed wrist. If the cause of death is asphyxiation, it's possible that we are dealing with a homicide.
There's no mistake. This finger is fractured. Can you send me the details? We'll get an x-ray performed as soon as possible. Oh, and I have one more piece of good news, Dr. Kimishima. I've received a recording from HQ of a witness's account.
Great, that will be useful. Who's the witness?
It's the deceased's neighbor. We've asked her some questions about the day of the incident.
Perfect timing. Maybe we'll be able to use her account to determine when the fire started.
I'll send the data over to you. Please check it using the recorder in your room.
Yes, that's right. Oh, it's been so hot lately. I've been keeping the window that faces out into the street open because of the heat. That's how I could hear my neighbor so clearly. It was, let me think, around 3 in the afternoon? Yes, it must have been. I was watching Farewell Danny at the time. I heard this loud noise from my neighbor's room. And then the fire alarm started going off a little after that. I was really surprised. I think it was about 10 minutes. I looked out the window and saw smoke coming from next door. I ran over to my neighbor's door, but nobody answered when I pounded on it. But I had to see if there was anyone in there, so I pulled on the door. It was chained from the inside, and no one answered me when I yelled. Yes, the fire truck came soon after that. A firefighter cut the chain on the door and went inside. My neighbor? No, it seems he lived alone. Oh, but I remember an electrician came at around noon. Yes, I heard him talking outside the front door, so I don't think I could be mistaken. Yes, I've been keeping... That's how I could hear my neighbor, so I've been keeping... A firefighter cut the chain on the door and went inside. My neighbor... That's how I could hear. I've been keeping... Yes, that's right. That's how I could hear my neighbors. It was, let me think, around 3 in the afternoon. Yes, I heard this. And then the fire alarms.
A loud noise followed by the fire. That may be a clue. The way she described it, the sound doesn't seem to have been something exploding. Could the noise have been made by someone in the room? Or something else? The room was sealed, and the neighbor heard the sounds at around 3 p.m. The fire occurred not long after that. What we can deduce from that is... That's right. At least, that's all we can determine using our current information. The deceased was alone at the time, so there's a good chance he made the noise. Still, we need more information to see if there was anyone else in the room when it happened.
I looked out the... But I had... It was... Yes, the fire truck came. A fire... My name... Oh, but...
So an electrician had come to the deceased's room that day at around noon. That was much earlier than when the fire supposedly started, but we should investigate it. Ah, little guy. Perfect timing. It seems an electrician entered the deceased's room around noon on the day of the incident. If he's talked to your people, can you ask them for the recordings of the interview?
All right, I'll contact them immediately.
Please do. How's the analysis going?
Well, regarding the fracture on the corpse's finger, the right index finger was fractured by an external force. It's rather odd. There are no signs of healing in the fractured area.
No traces of healing. That would mean... That's right. Reactions to injury, like minute healing and hypodermic hemorrhaging, are vital reactions. They only occur while the body is still alive. Thus, if there were no vital reactions to this broken bone, the fracture happened... It must have occurred after the person was already dead.
That would have to be the case. Oh, and to be clear, there's no way that the body was damaged during transport. We take the utmost precautions when moving bodies.
Huh. I hadn't considered that until you brought it up. Still, I'll take your word for it. If his index finger was broken, using the hand would have caused a great deal of pain. With that in mind, he shouldn't have been able to use his right hand all that well. There was a wound in the left wrist and a fractured finger on the right hand. This seems odd because... Yes, the deceased would have had to hold the knife in his injured hand to cut his left wrist. Then he would have had to cut deep enough to sever the artery, putting pressure on his broken finger. Even if he was right-handed, this situation just doesn't add up. Cut the small talk. What do you want?
So cold. HQ's questioned the electrician that the neighbor mentioned. I've sent you the recordings. It seems HQ already knew who he was, so there wasn't a problem.
Now we'll find out why that electrician went to the deceased's room.
Yes? Oh, yes, that's right. A murder? Yes, that's fine. He said his air was broken and needed to be fixed. That was around noon, I think? I got the call earlier that day. Yes, he said he needed it fixed that day, so I went straight there when I finished the job I was doing. Yeah, it was really quick. All I had to do was swap out a cable. Right. I think I was only there for about an hour. Yes, I fixed his heater. The customer? Well, the way he looked, I wouldn't be surprised if he committed suicide. Around 3 p.m.? No, I wouldn't have a clue. I was already fixing a washing machine at my next appointment's house at that time. Yes? He said his air was broken and needed to be fixed.
He fixed the air. We should focus on that. There's nothing odd about having a repairman come to work on the ventilation system. But, at the very least, Dennis was still alive when the electrician came. We need to learn about the deceased's condition at that time.
Yes,
It wouldn't be surprising if the deceased committed suicide. Sounds like an important detail. Does that mean the deceased had a motive for killing himself? Yes, these pieces of information do go together. On the day of the incident, the electrician had been asked to repair the deceased's air. The electrician went to the deceased's room at noon and left after finishing his work. Both the deceased's neighbor and the electrician himself agree on this. Indeed, both of these facts relate to the deceased. The last time the deceased was seen alive was... That's right. At that time, he seemed... Yes. This comes from the electrician's testimony. The last time we believe the deceased could have been alive is... Indeed. The neighbor reports hearing a sound from the room at that time. Within an hour after that, a fire started in his room. The deceased was later discovered dead. That's all we know at this point. Hey, little guy. I want to go through the information that we've gathered so far.
All right, let's piece it all together step by step.
Let's do that.
The deceased, Dennis Taylor, was found dead in his apartment. Let's see. His body was discovered because...
Yes, but by the time firefighters arrived on the scene, the fire had already gone out. His corpse was found on the bed.
That's right. The FBI and police initially ruled this case as a suicide. The reason for that was... That's correct. The other reason was...
Indeed. The slashed wrist and the chained door point towards suicide. It would seem he was so desperate for death that he would both slit his wrist and set his room on fire. That isn't a surprising conclusion.
The knife blade does match the shape of the wound in the wrist. The blood on the blade matches his DNA. Lastly, the deceased's fingerprints were found on the handle of the knife.
Those are all true, but there was something odd about that wound on his wrist. First, another point is... his finger was fractured. Would he have been able to use a knife with a wounded hand?
It's very unlikely, but that's not the only thing that raises doubt. If he did die of the knife wound, he would have bled to death. However, investigating the corpse points to a different cause of death. That is...
That's right, the petechia on the eyes, and the strange bruise on his abdomen. There's more than enough evidence to doubt that this was a suicide.
But according to the electrician's statement, the victim seemed like he might be in a state to commit suicide.
Indeed. There are too many uncertainties to be able to draw a conclusion at this point. I'm going to have to investigate the scene for myself. Little guy, get me approval to enter the area.
Oh, understood. You shouldn't have a problem, Dr. Kimishima. I'm sure my bosses will approve you right away.
Yes, but I don't intend to waste any time. I'm going there right now. You deal with the rest on your end. It's the ceiling fan. There's a speed selector and a timer. One of the blades seems to be broken, though. The electrician had supposedly come to fix the air. I need to review his testimony to confirm what he actually fixed. Now that I look closely, the burns are most severe right here. What was burning here? If I send this for analysis, I might find out what was on fire on the table. This is where the deceased's corpse was. If this bloodstain is his blood, then... Yes, the injury was on his left wrist. From the position of the bloodstain, it would appear he was lying face up on the bed. There was only the one bloodstain, so he didn't move around much after his wrist was slit. If this truly is a suicide, that would mean that he bled to death here. However, the amount of hemorrhaging here seems to be too small for a man to completely bleed out. Who's this in the picture? The deceased's friend? I see. I was so caught up in the case that I didn't check the man's background. Hello, little guy. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I hear you. Did you need something, Dr. Kimishima?
Yes. Can you do me a favor and look into the deceased's friends? I'm going to send you a picture right now. Try getting a hold on whoever that is.
All right. Is there anything in particular you'd like us to find out?
Let's see. First, about the deceased himself. It'd be great to find out more about the day of the incident.
All right. I'll make preparations to have them questioned. I'll send you the recordings of their answers, so please check the recorder.
Good. I'm glad you can get on this so quickly. I'll be counting on you.
What you want, man? Why are you calling me out here? Huh? You want to talk about Dennis? You're better off asking his girlfriend. Her name's, Stella. Yeah, she's at the club down on Roulette Street. Yeah, she can probably tell you more about Dennis than I can. That guy, huh? No, nothing. He's a friend of mine, you know? I don't hate him. I mean, we'd been drinking together the night before he died, after all. He did seem pretty flush recently, if you know what I mean. He called me up out of the blue and, said he'd pick up the tab that night. That wasn't really important, it was just how he normally brags. He was all proud of this red Portland Jacks t-shirt he was wearing too. The red ones are a limited edition or something, they're pretty rare. Didn't you know that? Lame. His job, huh? Yeah, he worked at this crappy little bar in some back alley. Then again, you probably can't really call it a bar either. How did he make his cash? Psh, who knows, man, I don't. Hey, that's why I said you should be talking to his girlfriend. Hey, you guys seriously think that he offed himself? It's just stupid. And he was one sharp SOB, always looking out for himself. I mean, he always thought that if you had no money, then you should get out and steal some. You really think someone like that would just kill himself? Well, it's got nothing to do with me, anyway. That guy, huh? He called me up out of the blue. That wasn't really important. He was all proud of this
Portland Jacks t-shirt. If he was telling the truth, the victim was wearing that shirt on the day of the incident. In any case, after hearing this testimony, it seems hard to believe that the deceased would have committed suicide. That reminds me, the man said in his interview that the deceased had a girlfriend. I wonder if HQ knows who she is. This is worth asking little guy about.
Yes, did you call Dr. Kimishima?
I need you to look into somebody for me. A woman named Stella Abbott.
Oh, the deceased's girlfriend? Well, technically his ex.
That doesn't matter. Can you find her?
We already have. HQ's just finished questioning her. Oh, should I send you the recording?
Please. Now, if you don't mind. I feel like I'm getting closer to understanding who Dennis Taylor really is. one mentioned the clothing that the deceased was wearing on the day of the incident. That's odd. There's nothing that stands out about the clothing. Somebody said something about what the deceased had been wearing that day. Something about this shirt is bothering me. That's right. The deceased was apparently wearing a red t-shirt on the day of the incident. Did he change after he got home? Or was there some reason for changing his shirt?
This is a blood stain. One moment, please. I did some quick calculations. A stain of that size would take about 800 milliliters of blood.
The average adult male would have to lose at least 1,500 milliliters in order to bleed to death. This means that... Well, the amount of blood loss required varies from person to person, so this isn't quite proof. It is unusual, though. I'll have to remember it. This does raise some doubts. The electrician supposedly came to the victim's room to fix his air, but he didn't repair the ceiling fan? Or did the fan break after the electrician had left? In any case, I'll need to hear his account again.
Dr. Kimishima, did you receive the voice data?
From the deceased's girlfriend? Have you sent it?
You should be able to listen to it using the recorder. Please listen to it when you can.
Right. First, I want to know about the deceased's source of income.
He did seem fairly well off for somebody without a steady job.
Indeed. I'll be listening for that while I'm going over the recording.
Yes? He said his air was broken and needed to be... Yes. Yeah. Right. Yes. That was... Yes. Yes.
He fixed the heater. Something about that seems odd. Yes, the deceased's neighbor mentioned that. Summer is already starting, and yet on the day of the incident, the deceased wanted to have his heater repaired? There's something strange about this after all.
Seriously? What do you guys want? I've got work to do, so let's get this over with. Huh? Dennis? You mean Dennis Taylor? Wow, that name brings back bad memories. We broke up years ago. Yeah, at first I thought he was an interesting guy, pretty cool and all. But he never had a job, and he just kind of wandered through life. Oh, but he always had money. I'm sure he didn't come by it honestly. Ugh, are you really this slow? Don't you get it? Drugs. He was a drug dealer. He worked for this big fish called Theodore. I guess Dennis got totally used by him, the dumbass. And that was it. I broke up with him. I mean, dealing drugs? That's way too dangerous for me. Who knows? I assume he's still out there dealing. I mean, I can't do anything to stop him. Huh? He died? When? But, are you... drugs?
Good heavens. The deceased's been holding on to quite a secret. I'm going to have to change the way I approach this case. Let's go through the information we have, now that we know the deceased's true identity. Unbelievable. The deceased had this hidden dark side to him.
This is looking more and more like a case worth investigating. If Dennis Taylor was a drug dealer, then there could be a variety of reasons to kill him.
Still, I can't let my prejudices cloud the truth. I need to remain objective. However, it seems that we're going to have to change our views regarding this case.
Right. I'll prepare the CSI's ALS.
ALS? The advanced light source that can adjust the wavelength being emitted?
That's right. An object's visibility depends on the light being reflected from that object. The ALS lets you select a particular wavelength to focus only on what you want to see.
Or hide what you don't want to see.
Oh, no.
I'll try using it. Thanks, little guy. White powder scattered on the floor. It looks like there are footprints in it. I can guess at what this powder is, but I should send it in for analysis just in case. This powder on the floor seems to trail behind the shelf. Bingo. There's more of that powder inside this hole in the wall. What an obvious place for a hiding spot. Mr. Taylor wasn't all that clever.
About that white powder that was spread on the floor, there were traces of drugs found within it. A number of different sets of footprints were identified in that powder as well. They all belonged to the firefighters, police, and you, of course.
I see. That means... Exactly. That would be the case. The room belonged to the deceased. If the drugs had been spread on the floor before the incident, his footprints should be there as well. But the only footprints in the room were from people who had entered after the fire. This would mean that the drugs would have to have been spread before or soon after the fire began. All right, let's go over the information we've gathered. First, the white powder. Yes, the trail of drugs led directly to the hole behind the shelf. If the same powder from the floor was inside the hole, then... That's right. But there weren't any drugs inside the hole. The layer of drugs had footprints from the firefighters, the police, and me left in them. All of the footprints had something in common. Indeed, there weren't any footprints from before the time the fire began. So from this, we can deduce that the drugs must have been scattered on the floor when... Yes. If I take this even further, I'd say that it would have been after Mr. Taylor stopped moving. In other words, it must have happened between his death and when the fire started. But why were there drugs on the floor? That was careless. Yes, they must have spilled out when someone removed the drugs from the hole in the wall. Dennis Taylor was killed, and someone walked out with the drugs. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what happened here, but I need to move on to the next step. I should consult with the little guy about this.
Dr. Kimishima, have you confirmed that it's a murder after all?
I don't know how you heard about that so quickly, little guy. Have you been eavesdropping on me?
Huh? What? No,
Forget it. I can see right through you.
Oh, right. I have a new tool for you. It's luminol. Do I need to explain it to you?
A chemiluminescent material based on reducing 5-nitrophthalhydrazide with sodium dithionite. It reacts to iron and hemoglobin by glowing, making it useful to find otherwise hidden bloodstains. Anything else?
No.
Good. I just spray this onto suspicious areas, then shine the ALS on it, right? I'm sure it will be useful. Thank you, little guy. I still have doubts. My main concern about this is... Yes, fans circulate air within a room. If the owner was having his air system fixed, the fan should have been considered part of it. Why then would the electrician fix only the heater and not the ceiling fan? It's true then. This does have to do with the victim, but I wonder why. I get the feeling that there's something very wrong about this. Indeed. At first glance, it doesn't seem like these refer to the same person at all. On the one hand, drug-dealing scum enjoying his life. On the other, a man with suicidal depression? Either one of these clues is false, or there's more to this shady business that I haven't found out. In either case, the truth of the matter is that he was indeed a drug dealer. So there were bloodstains here too. If these are from the deceased, we may be able to use this with something else that we know. There's a reaction to blood on this screw that's securing the doorknob. The screw seems rather loose as well. Come to think of it, the door to this room was chained shut when the fire started. Could this be related to that in some way? There's a rope wrapped around the shaft of the ceiling fan. There's no mistake, those are bloodstains.
Sorry for the wait. The analysis of the burnt material has come back from the laboratory. Calcium hydroxide was detected in the sample.
Calcium hydroxide? You mean slaked lime?
Yes, small amounts of quicklime were also detected. Quicklime is a substance that releases a great deal of heat when it reacts with water.
Huh, I see. So this was...
I agree, but isn't it odd? If the killer wanted to start a fire, there are far easier ways to go about it.
You're right. There must have been a reason for this. It's our job to investigate that, isn't it?
What's this? It just looks like a loose screw to me.
Think harder, little guy. How was the room when the firefighters arrived at the scene? The entrance was closed, but was it completely inaccessible? That's right. The chain on the door had been attached, but the door itself wasn't locked.
Sorry, but the door only opens about 15 centimeters with the chain attached. I don't even think a small child could get through a space that small.
You're so unimaginative. Flex your mind and think about it. Listen to me. What I'm trying to tell you is... This loose screw tells us everything. With the screw removed, the entire plate on the door can be swiveled around by the doorknob. The plate itself is about 20 centimeters long, so the gap increases to almost 35 centimeters. How big does somebody have to be that he couldn't fit through a space that size?
Oh, I see now. That's more than enough room to get past the door. So the killer just screwed the plate back on from the outside after he left the room then.
I think that's the most likely explanation. But the killer was in plain sight once he was outside the door. He wanted to finish quickly. The killer couldn't completely tighten the screw and left the area as we found it.
Well, that proves that this isn't quite the locked room mystery we thought it was.
Still, this doesn't help us figure out who the killer is. I need to investigate the situation in more detail.
Dr. Kimishima, we've identified the blood on the screw. It's a DNA match with the victim, Dennis Taylor. Why would his blood be there, of all places?
It's simple. What happened was... That's right. It's probably because he touched the murder weapon.
Wait, why would the killer touch that screw with the murder weapon?
He would have to, if the weapon was... Yes, a screwdriver. It was likely used to both loosen and tighten that screw.
I see. Then the screwdriver left the blood on the screw while he was covering his tracks.
That's right. There were 2 different bloodstains left in the deceased's room. Now, which of these bloodstains happened first? That's true. Unless the corpse got up and walked over by itself, it's most likely that the deceased died where the first bloodstains were found, and then was carried to the bed afterwards. That would explain why there was such a small amount of blood on the bed itself. Yes, these 2 pieces can be combined into one. The rope wrapped around the ceiling fan is what caused it to break. The question now is why there was a rope around it in the first place. Yes, these pieces of information are hiding an important fact. I didn't notice because the bleeding had stopped completely, but this isn't a bruise. It's a stab wound. This strange pattern here is likely... Yes, that's right. It's indisputable evidence that the weapon was jammed in so deeply that the grip left a bruise. Yes, these do lead the way to a definite truth. Looking at the location of the bruise, the tip of the screwdriver must have pierced Dennis's lung. His lung would then rupture, causing pulmonary emphysema, and he would have suffocated. This explains the spots of hemorrhaging in the corpse's eyes. What actually happened that day is slowly coming to light now. Yes, these 2 can tell us how the murder happened. On the day of the incident, the killer came to the victim's room and stabbed him in the torso. The murder weapon was... Yes, the screwdriver pierced the victim's lung, causing pulmonary emphysema. This caused respiratory problems due to lung failure. Thus, the cause of death was... After this, the killer moved the victim to the bed. This is most likely because... Indeed. The murderer then arranged the corpse to make the death appear to be a suicide. That is what I believe took place, according to the evidence we have gathered. The fire began near the fallen table. Calcium hydroxide was found in the substance on the floor there. Calcium hydroxide is formed through the reaction of quicklime and water. That reaction creates something else as well. Yes. Quicklime releases 65 kilojoules of energy per mole when it reacts with water. This was the method used to start the fire in this room. First, you would place a glass of water on the table. You would also put quicklime around the floor and on the table near the glass. When the table falls over, the hydration heat caused by the reaction would cause a fire. But why would the killer go through such a complicated plan to start a fire? That's right. If all he wanted was a fire, he could have just set something on fire. The killer needed to have a delay until the fire began. That's why he devised a plan that made use of two components. Yes, this trick relied on the ceiling fan and a rope. The killer wrapped one end of the rope around the fan and tied the other to a table leg. When the fan activated according to its timer, the fan wound the rope up, flipping the table over and spilling the water onto the quicklime. However, there's still one basic question left to be asked. Why did the killer have to set the room on fire in the first place? Why go through this extravagant setup to make it happen? The reason for that is... Exactly. Due to the fact that there was nothing flammable added to the body itself. The culprit never intended for the corpse and the evidence to be destroyed in the fire. Instead, the killer wanted to cause a commotion that would draw attention to the corpse. Now then, why would that be? That's right. By delaying the start of the fire, the plan was to have enough time to create a viable alibi for when the fire began. It's easy. I mean, with this method of misdirection, the culprit could start a fire hours after having left the crime scene entirely. This is the entire truth behind this mysterious arson. This is odd. There's something missing that should be here. If the puncture wound in the abdomen is the true cause of death, right. There should be blood stains and a hole where the screwdriver went through his clothing. Yes, these pieces of information can tell us something. According to Mr. Taylor's friend, on the day of the incident, Dennis had been wearing... That's right. He was supposedly wearing a red Portland Jacks t-shirt that day, but when his body was discovered, it was wearing... Yes, his corpse was found wearing a white shirt. In other words, his clothing had changed. And yet, if that was all we know, we couldn't rule out if the deceased had changed his shirt himself. However, if he had, there would still be a discrepancy. Yes, the corpse had a wound that wasn't reflected by the state of the clothing it was wearing. There's only one answer to this puzzle, and that is... Indeed. Whoever had killed Mr. Taylor replaced the shirt he was wearing after killing him. The reason for doing that was... Exactly. It was probably to hide the stab wound and make us believe the cut wrist was the cause of death. The killer staged the suicide in order to mislead us. I see. These two are related. There are no vital reactions to the broken finger. That means the damage occurred after death, considering that the killer must have changed the victim's clothing after death. That's right. The killer broke the corpse's finger while changing the shirt on the body.
Dr. Kimishima, how's the investigation going?
I've almost uncovered the deception, but the truth hasn't completely been revealed.
I see. So we can't arrest the culprit yet?
That's right. I need conclusive evidence that can help us identify the killer.
The most reliable giveaway would be if we could find a fingerprint at the crime scene. However, only the victim's fingerprints were found when HQ searched the room.
I'm not surprised, considering the lengths the killer's gone to hide his tracks. The murderer was probably wearing gloves while the crime was being committed.
Isn't there anything the killer might have touched?
Something that would require him to take his gloves off? It's hard to think of anything.
Well, the best evidence would be on a hard, slick, inorganic substance. It doesn't matter what size it is.
All we can investigate are the crime scene, the corpse, and what the corpse was wearing. Could there be anything among those items that the killer touched with a bare hand? I'll have to investigate further. Thank you, little guy. Put this shirt on the victim's corpse after the murder took place. That would mean that the killer would have had to button the shirt up as well. Buttoning up a shirt with gloves on is no easy task. If my predictions are correct... Hopefully this will help us find the identity of our mystery murderer.
Dr. Kimishima, it was there. I found it. There's a fingerprint from someone who isn't the victim. It's, a right thumb.
Great. Run the print through the list of registered offenders immediately.
Leave it to me. Such an attention to detail has gone into this. It can't possibly be a first-time offender. There has to be a match for this fingerprint in our records.
I sincerely hope so. This case should be over soon. The dead shall speak. Let's put together the truth of what happened here. The victim in this case is 30-year-old Dennis Taylor. As there's no motive for murder, it's a suspected suicide. However, the victim had a hidden other side. This card is the one with proof of that. Yes, while he did work at the bar, he also dealt drugs. This case is related to the victim's drug activities. The proof of that is on this card. Indeed, the drugs hidden behind the shelf were missing. The killer went into Taylor's room to kill him for his drugs. The real cause of the victim's death can tell us that. I know that because of this card. Right. The wound on the wrist was not the true cause. Next, the killer disguised the murder as a suicide. This card proves the misdirection used to hide the murder. Yes. The appearance of suicide covered up the real cause. The next topic is the secret hidden in the room itself. The murderer used a trick to create a locked room mystery. It was made to seem as if the victim was the only one there. This card shows the trick that had been used. What did I do with that? Exactly. The killer thought this would clear his trail. And yet, the culprit had one more way to hide from suspicion. That was to hide when the murder itself took place. This card shows how he went about that ruse. The murder took place 3 hours prior to the fire's start. It's natural to assume that if the room was locked, then the crime and the fire would be at the same time. The plan was perfect. No fingerprints were left in the room. However, there was one thing the killer hadn't counted on. There was one task he needed to remove his gloves to do. This card is evidence of that task. He probably couldn't button the clothes with his gloves on. No matter how small the buttons, there were still prints. Even a fragment of a fingerprint can be used to identify him. The victim must have been surprised. After all, he thought the killer was a customer. This is what he said at the very end.
Stop! You! No!
The final flickers of this soul's light show me the truth. Who's there?
I'm sorry. I must have surprised you.
You're that electrician. Why are you here?
Oh, I was called up because a switchboard blew. I need to have it fixed by tomorrow.
I see. That sounds difficult. Freeze. Don't move. I see corpses all day. One more won't bother me.
Naomi! Are you hurt? I'm sorry. I should have stayed.
I've solved the case. I'll give you my report tomorrow.
The report can wait. Naomi, you must think of your safety.
Nobody lives forever. Even if I died today, it'd just be earlier than I expected.